Well, this is really a special day for us. And NaToya Cartledge is a member of the Rotary McCormick Satellite Club. And on top of that, she is the executive director for First Steps in the McCormick County. NaToya can certainly explain First Steps better than I can, but NaToya, I'll let you know that my first introduction to First Steps was when I was working at Tri-County Technical College as a department head for early childhood. And the First Steps executive director was on my advisory board. I got to know the great work that was done then. At the time, I'm having a senior moment. I can't remember the woman who was in charge of First Steps on the state level forever, but she attended many of the early childhood state level meetings. And it was very quickly obvious to all of us that First Steps plays an important role in helping with early literacy across the state. And the unique piece about First Steps is each county's First Step executive director works with those in the county who are in the know to establish and to do what's needed most versus a cookie cutter approach across the state. Each county has a lot of say in what's most needed and what works best for that community. And that's a very unique approach even across the nation. So NaToya, we are certainly look forward to your remarks today when we look at the area of focus for Rotary that, and ask us to really be mindful and to do what we can to support, education, and particularly for young children and particularly literacy. We are delighted that you can share with us today your thoughts and to help inform us about things that we probably don't know about. And so the floor is yours, and thank you so much for being with us.
So Lene, I'm actually going to do her little intro bio so that we can learn a little bit more about her too, because she sent that to me. So NaToya is actually a native of McCormick, South Carolina, and she's been employed with First Steps since 2016. She began her journey as a parent educator for Greenwood County First Steps in 2019 and was hired as the executive director of McCormick County First Steps. She worked in Greenwood from 2016 and then was hired in McCormick starting in 2019. She received her bachelor's degree in early childhood education from Lander University and her master's in business administration from the University of Phoenix. She resides in Greenwood, and her 16-year-old son, Jalen, who's an avid golfer, and her 2-year-old pit bull boxer mix, fur baby Coco. She joined the Rotary McCormick group in 2022. So we're happy to have you here today, NaToya. And if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself, you can share your screen and tell us a little bit about First Steps McCormick.
Thank you all for having me again today. It's always an honor to talk about First Steps, organization that's very near and dear to me, an organization that many people don't know about or get confused about the services that we provide. So I'm always happy to shed light on the different services and programs that we have. First Steps first came into existence in the state of South Carolina in 1999. It started as a state initiative in our capital of Columbia, and then branched off to where each county has a locally owned and operated First Steps. So there are 46 First Steps offices in the state of South Carolina. And as it was previously stated, that each county's First Steps is tailored towards the needs of that county. So it's not necessary that every county will operate the same programs. It just goes based on the needs of that county. And I'm just going to share with you all our annual report that highlights work of our previous years, and that will best shed light as to what we do as a county here in McCormick. So our mission is very simple. We collaborate with the community to fully support preschool aged children, and we consider that children prenatal up until age 5. And our heavy focus is on the family, because of course, if the parents aren't okay, then the children aren't okay. So we focus heavily on the family as a whole to ensure that the entire family is ready for school success. We base our measures of success by the KRA scores, which are the kindergarten readiness assessment scores that each child takes once they enter into kindergarten. And the goal is for, of course, those children to exceed what's expected for them. So our programs are geared towards making sure those children enter kindergarten successful and that they have a successful school career once they enter out of kindergarten. This is just some highlights from last year. We directly served 243 children. Of course, McCormick is a small county, so that number may seem small, but that's huge for us here in McCormick. We directly served 43 parents and caregivers. We gave out over 2,500 books. And in 2019, they did a study and found that children who participated in any of our programs here in the county were 74% more likely to score higher on that kindergarten readiness assessment and 34% less likely to be chronically absent once they enter into kindergarten. This page just talks about the importance of getting children ready for kindergarten and how from birth to age 5, really age 3, is that critical stage for children. That's the time where their brains are developing the most. So that's the time we want to reach them to ensure that they are ready for kindergarten. And this highlights what we consider the profile of a ready kindergartner, just the different categories that we focus on to ensure that they are not experiencing any type of developmental delays. And so now I'll just go into the different programs we offer here in McCormick County. The first one are child care scholarships. We give out child care scholarships to eligible children and their families to receive a tuition-free enrollment in one of our child care centers. Unfortunately, McCormick is considered a child care desert. We do not have enough child care centers for the number of children we have in our county. We currently only have 2 licensed child care centers, one of which is housed in our elementary school. That's the child care center that we fund. And then the other is a family-owned and operated child care center, which is called Durant Family Child Care Center. Those are the only 2 centers we have in our county. The centers as a whole are able to house maybe 46 children, and we have 300, roughly over 300 children in the county under the age 5. So that kind of shows you a deficit that we don't have enough child care for the children in our county. But in our scholarships program, we were able to give out 20 scholarships for children to attend these centers at no cost or very minimal cost. It just depends on their eligibility once they fill out the application. And we also give out developmental screenings once they receive the scholarship. We give out screenings to ensure that there aren't any developmental delays or there aren't any early signs of autism. And if we see any of those factors, we then send out referrals for early intervention to start taking place. Our next program is Imagination Library. This is a program where we partner with Dolly Parton's Imagination Library to where any child in the county from birth to age 5 can sign up for this program, and they will receive a free book in the mail each month. Unfortunately, once they turn 6, they age out of the program, but that's when we encourage them to start visiting the local library and to receive library cards to keep the literacy going within the home, because the goal of this program is to have books in the home to where parents are reading to the child each night. Last year, we were able to serve 106 children in this program and gave out 1,154 books. We're proud to say that this year we were able to receive a donation from our McCormick Rotary Club to go specifically towards this program to help fund books for this program in the future. Our next program is our library-based initiative. This is where we partner with our county library, so where we hire the children's librarian, and she goes in twice a month to our child care centers and provides story time, art lessons, and music lessons. She has gone above and beyond her job duties and just does an amazing job in this program. She has provided jugglers have came to the classrooms. We've had magicians come. She started this year a little garden at each of the centers where they are learning the importance of plants, how to plant, how to care for plants. So this is a program that is very successful here, and that's because we partner with our county library to run this program as well. We served 48 children in this program and gave out 550 books in this program last year. Our next one is our Nurturing Parenting program. This is our home visitation and group-based program that uses a curriculum that is targeted to decrease child abuse and neglect. And also in this program, we partner with our local DSS office. So parents who have lost custody of their children and they're trying to regain that custody, they come to us for free parenting classes as part of their treatment plan. And they receive 101 individual parenting classes. They can come to our group-based sessions, or our parent educator can go out to their homes to provide home visits for them. And also in this program, those children that aren't enrolled in some kind of childcare, our parent educator visits their home twice a month. And she's almost like their homeschool teacher. She takes activities out to the home for the parent and child to do that focus on what they should be doing at that age to also get them ready for kindergarten. Last year, we had a total of 24 families enrolled in this program and a total of 24 group visits. And that's just each month we offer, we call them our parents coming together sessions, where our parents and the children come and we meet, and it's almost like a venting session for them. We let them come together to let out frustrations, share ideas with one another on things that they can do to better improve their home life. Our next program is Countdown to Kindergarten. This is our summer program where we partner with our school district and we hire the kindergarten teachers to work with us during the summer. And they work with eligible families of rising kindergartners, and they work with them right about 6 weeks during the summer to ensure that they are ready for kindergarten. Last year, we had a total of 16 children enrolled, and the teachers did a total of 96 home visits. Our last program is our early education for children under 4. That's our daycare center, again, that we partner with the school district that we help fund. This daycare center is housed at our elementary school. We currently have 2 classrooms, 1 infant and toddler, 1 infant class, and then 1 toddler class. And we've also, within recent years, partnered with the district to provide services to the 4K classroom as well. Before COVID, we actually had 2 4K classrooms. Now we are down to 1. So that's even less children that are receiving services because they had to close one of the classrooms due to COVID. This last page just highlights some of our community partners that we worked with last year. And because of our community partners, we were able to serve 238 families. And in some kind of capacity, we gave out 422 materials. One community event we had where we partnered with Save the Children organization. They gave us boxes and boxes of household products. And we had a drive-through where we offer people in the community come and receive boxes full of different household products. This page highlights our supporters for last year. Again, we are a nonprofit organization. We do not receive any type of state funding. All of our funding comes from grants and or donations. So this is just highlights some of our funders from last year. And our biggest funder is our state office of First Steps. Each year we have to apply for a grant that pretty much gives us over 75% of our funding. So of course our state office is our top funder, and then these are the other community supports and funding that we had last year. And this page here just breaks down our different programs and the categories just to show how much it costs to run each program. Our most expensive program, again, is our daycare center. Last year, that took a total of $153,312 to operate that program. And then underneath that is our Nurturing Parenting program, which is our home visitation program that we partner with DSS with as well. So this page just again highlights our programs and what it takes to roughly run each program. Of course, we know price of things going up, so it's actually costing us, our prices are actually starting to go up in each of these programs, just so we ensure that all of our programs stay quality programs and that our teachers and our staff stay up to date in any type training, and that we stay up to date with all DSS and DHEC regulations so that we are able to stay operating. We are run by a board of directors, again, because we are locally owned and operated. So we're run by a board of directors. This is just a page listing our leadership and our staff at the moment. Thankfully, our staff will be growing next year. We're adding about 3 more people to our staff here, and we receive funding to be able to move into our own independent location. So we are steadily growing here at First Steps. We're making strides. There's still a lot that we have to do, but again, we rely on the support of our community, our different stakeholders, different people we collaborate. Our main supporters here is our school district, and we do have a Head Start here that we collaborate with. Unfortunately for them, they went from 4 classrooms to they are now down to only 1 classroom. I actually have to meet their board tomorrow to try to figure out what we can do on First Steps and to try to rectify these problems of closing the classrooms, because essentially our children are hurting because that's more children that are having to stay at home versus being in some kind of childcare setting. So again, I thank you all for the opportunity. I hope this was able to shed some light on what we do here at McCormick County First Steps. Again, each county has their own first steps, so our programs may differ from programs in other counties because we just choose programs based on the needs of the families within our county.
NaToya, thank you so much. That was extremely interesting and extremely well put. Before I open it up for comments, I want to and questions, I want to make one comment myself and ask one question. First, early in her presentation, NaToya talked about the number of children directly served. And I really like that, the way you phrased that, because it's probably impossible for you to capture how many families and children are touched because of your direct service with one child. While you may be directly serving one child, there are other family members. Those family members have friends. And so what First Steps does is just, I find it just absolutely incredible. My question is, obviously, being in a location where there's a child care desert is certainly very, very, very tough, particularly for the work you're trying to do. Is there any effort to recruit and train family child caregivers in the home that can be licensed to care for children in the home through any of your programs?
Yes, we offer, throughout the year, we offer different trainings for people to come to receive information if that is something they're interested in. We are trying to target our churches a little to see if they would be interested in opening a child care center at the churches. It is a desire of our board to open up a First Steps daycare center, another one, but unfortunately we don't have the funding for it right now. So now we're just trying to find different avenues to fix that problem. But yes, we do offer trainings for anyone who's interested in learning how they can become a licensed family-owned daycare center.
And I was even thinking about having been with military childcare for a number of years. Our child development center is just like what you're talking about. You couldn't meet the need. And so we would actually license providers who provided care in their home. Depending upon the size of the home, it could be 4 to 6 children. And so I know South Carolina has some regulations on that. It's been a while since I've looked at all that, but I was just wondering if that was an option in McCormick.
It is. It's just finding the interest, those who are interested in doing it.
Right. Julia, you've got
your— So NaToya, my question is with the classrooms, when you say that you had before COVID more room and that that you're losing the classroom size, is that because of a lack of space at the school, or is it a lack of a person to manage the classroom?
Teacher shortage. Teachers are leaving at alarming rates. Right after this, I have to go over to the district office to talk with them because they have a scary number of teachers that are leaving next year. So yes, basically a teacher shortage.
Okay. And is your location that you're moving to, is it still within the campus of the school, or are you going to be then off campus with your daycare?
The daycare center will still be housed at the school. It's just my office and the staff that don't work at the daycare center, we're moving.
Okay. So there's room at the school if we got more bodies to be able to manage the groups of the children.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments for NaToya? Candace?
So NaToya, first of all, thank you so much. I didn't know anything about this, and what you're accomplishing with the budget that you have, to me, is just a miracle. So thank you for all you're doing for McCormick. It really caught my attention that you said that Sharon Bordeaux at the library is incorporating music as well as reading into her work with the children. And I wonder if there's an opportunity to donate some, age-appropriate musical instruments. I'd like to follow up with you and get her contact information and
Okay.
see what she might be able to use for the kids, because I'm a strong believer in music being also an important part of brain development.
Yes, it is. She is always, well, we are always accepting donations. She did a fun activity with the children with using rhythm sticks, I believe, that was donated by one of the local churches here. So yes, we do accept any kind of donations for the music part, the art lessons, the planting project she's doing. That was given to us by Friends of the Library organization here. They donated the seeds and planters and everything. So yes, any type ideas anyone has, please share them with us and we find a way to make it happen.
NaToya.
I have a couple of questions. NaToya, thank you for that excellent presentation. My wife Shirley, who's on the screen next to me, has a degree in early childhood education. She taught first grade more than 50 years ago.
Okay.
And so I'm listening to you and the issues that you're, dealing with. And it still amazes me how those were similar issues 50 years ago.
Right.
And I keep wondering, what is the weak link? In other words, is money the sole solution to the problem, or is it something else? I think in terms of vision, of what's the vision for your organization and all of the ones in each county. Is there any particular county that's doing their work better than others? And I'm trying to understand, have we made progress over the last 50 years and how we're dealing with these issues?
Funding is a major issue. Of course, I always say you can never pay teachers what they're worth. I was in the classroom for several years before I started doing this. So money plays an issue, but I think a bigger issue that we're dealing with now, unfortunately, aside from social emotional delays, COVID played a big part in how schools are operating, and parents particularly got into this rut of when they were doing virtual and online. It's kind of now trying to ease them away from that and getting the families more engaged, because if the family isn't engaged, the children aren't engaged. And a big issue we see here is when we host events, the parents aren't bringing the children. And it's because they've gotten used to, oh, well, we do everything online, we do everything virtual. They're not seeing the importance of face-to-face interaction, because now you see a lot of children with different mental health issues. They don't know how to socialize. They don't know how to communicate. A lot of motor skills are being lost. We did something one Saturday at the park with riding the tricycles, and I was amazed how many children have never been on a bike because they sit in front of screens all day. So you're starting to see a lot of motor skills declining too. because parents aren't seeing the importance of taking their children away from TV screens, and getting them outside to play or reading to them. So funding has to do with it. I think family engagement. I have a lot of meetings with teachers. They just don't feel appreciated anymore. The things that they have to go through, even if it's not money. I meet with the superintendents and I tell them, you don't have to always give them money, just simple thank yous, leaving thank you cards on their desk, motivational texts, because they go through a lot. And I don't think they feel appreciated. So now I can go do something else and make more money and not have to deal with this headache. So that's a big thing that I'm seeing, that COVID played a part. Technology is good, but it's hindering us in a lot of areas that are making families not engaged at all anymore.
And NaToya, would it be fair to say that family engagement is sometimes, I mean, many times it's a lack of parents having an understanding, like you said, of what's needed, but sometimes too, the socioeconomic circumstances of families is either, if you've got a single parent home or a double working parent home, the amount of time they literally have is sometimes doesn't play into that. In many families, you've got parents, even single parent homes, working more than one job because they are one flat tire away from losing a job. I mean, when there's no extra funds. So I think societally, or socially or whatever, you can have all the money in the world, but when we've got people who are living, and you're not really, obviously in poverty is a problem, but being in that gap between poverty and being able to make it, there's a gap there that's widening, more and more. And that, I think, is really impacting children too, but that's just my opinion. I don't, I've seen some people say the same thing, but I think that affects how parents decide what they can and can't do with their children.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. And like I said, when we have our parent group meetings, you hear a lot of that frustration. Like you said, just one disaster away from losing everything they have. And say you have a lot of the single parent homes, a lot of the children being raised by grandparents, aunts, uncles, because the parents are having to work, and some of them are working and going to school, working multiple jobs. So when they get home, they don't want to be bothered with reading to the child or going outside to play. So it's easier just to put them in front of a tablet or the TV so they can have time for themselves.
Diana, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. NaToya, statistically, how many of the families that you're dealing with are single parents, and how many are quote unquote traditional, meaning both the father and the mother are together?
I would say 95% are single parent households.
Yeah.
NaToya, I had a question about the summer where they're reaching out to the kids right before starting kindergarten to make contact with them with that summer program. Are the teachers that are working with you to do home visits and meet with the kids, are they getting some compensation from the state or something for that work, or are they doing this on volunteer basis?
They get the compensation from us. We hire them. So they work directly for First Steps for those 6 weeks, and we pay them.
But that's also part of your budget, is needing to pay as much as you can. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The huge need.
NaToya, I have another question. I was intrigued by your educational background. Did I understand that you have a master's in business
I do.
administration?
Mm-hmm.
So how has that helped you in your perspective on how you solve problems?
It's helped a lot because, as I said, before this, I was a teacher. So I only saw things from that eyeglass. You know, was oh, we need money, we need this, but so now where I sit now, it's like, yeah, they're trying, but the money just isn't there, and you're having to make it stretch. So just taking those business classes helps me to realize how difficult it is. And just reaching out, the importance of having those partnerships outside of the state fund grants that we do get, and just having another perspective for looking at things. So I'm able to identify on both ends. When I meet with my teachers, my heart goes out to them, but I also know what goes on the administrative end.
Got it. Yeah, great. Thanks.
Diana.
I have a question, and I would like to also make a statement. Is there a process by which you are able to track your children once they begin kindergarten and proceed through their school careers?
Yes, we partner with our districts, and in their data system, they are able to mark children who receive services from us. And so we track them, especially once they hit third grade,
Okay.
to kind of, because third grade is another critical grade.
Right. Exactly.
And then once they reach fifth grade, we track them again. And then after that, we're trying to make it, because there's a big gap, because once they reach fifth grade, we don't track them again until to see if they graduate high school. So we're trying to implement something in between there to keep up with them as well.
Okay, well, I don't have a card with me, but I know that I speak on behalf of all the members of both the E-Club and the Satellite Club when I say thank you very much for all that you and your staff does in order to make life better for these children. I really hope that parents very soon understand at least a little bit about the very importance of reading to them and seeing to them that they need to get out in front of the boob tube or the computer screen, because that is really hindering their maturation and their learning curve. So to you and to everybody that works with First Step, thank you for all your efforts. We do appreciate them.
Thank you.
It was very well said, Diana. I think you spoke from your heart, and that represented the hearts of all of us here on screen. And but before we don't want to move away from it, and want to make sure everybody has a chance to ask NaToya questions or to offer their comments. Anything else for NaToya? Well, NaToya, I think you really, hit on something that is near and dear to us. And I think all of us are just amazed. I think what Diana and Candace had said earlier, amazed with what you're able to do with what you have. I mean, that's really very, very, very important to the young children. It was important for us to hear today, and thank you for bringing that message to us. We have a few more minutes. NaToya, I hope you don't leave, because I have something at the closing part for you. If you can just stay with us for a couple of more moments. before we move to closing out, I'd like to offer that in the month of May, we have some very exciting programs coming up. We have next week, we have Wade Cleveland, who is the district representative for Youth Exchange, and he will be with us, and hopefully with some of his students who are part of the program this year. Wanda has done a marvelous job of tracking down a water project that's actually here in the United States, Dig Deep Water. She's got a representative speaking to us on the 9th of May, and that's going to be very exciting. We have somebody from the on the literacy side of the house for the district speaking to us on the 23rd of May. And on the 30th of May, Julia has an exciting guest who will talk to us about genetics and seed production. And that's a really fun time of year to do that, since all of us are probably looking at flowers and plants and all of that good stuff. And then finally, I wanted to mention the 16th of May, we'll be doing our one of our socials. We normally do it the 5th Tuesday of a month, but seeing how Dennis could do the seed and genetics presentation, we're going to move that to the 16th of May. And I always try to find something that, some type of activity that we can do to get to know each other better. And so if you have any ideas, please send to me. I've got a couple that I can pull out of my hat, but there may be some that you are very interested in. And so I certainly don't want to lose that opportunity to open it up for others to share their ideas. And so then the last thing I hope you got your, well, I had a prop right here. There it is. So I hope you got your latest edition of the Rotary magazine. One of the things that I think it was Franca who put on the Acts of Green here lately, that she had canceled her membership. And because you can get this totally online, it's available, and it's a really cute little turn the page app for it. And last night I was reminded that Lance and/or I need to do the same, because 2 come to our house, and just realize that. So Julie, I don't know if Julie's still with us, but that will be one of my latent acts of green, is to at least reduce by 50% one of the magazines that comes here. So Franca, thank you for that. I learn something every time we do that. So we are going to move to closing in just a few moments, but anything else that we share before we close out today's program?
I just want to thank NaToya again for joining us in her presentation, and just reminding us of the great need that we have with our children, and literacy, such a big part of what Rotary supports in helping with early literacy is a huge need in our area. And so we hope that we can continue to work with you, NaToya, and be supportive of all the work that First Steps does, because it certainly is a labor of love for everything you do with the small budget that you have. So thank you.
And I certainly want to echo those thoughts. And let's see here. Let me do a share screen real quick. And so NaToya, what we do on our part, let's see, hopefully that's being shared now. One of the things we started quite a while ago is to look at our little free libraries and to donate a book in recognition and honor of the speaker for each program. And as you were talking and speaking about the books used in the library and everything, I actually made a note to get with you, just like Candace was talking about the musical instruments. We certainly have an opportunity to get a list from you of some of the books that the library or other programs that you work with might be interested in, and we can incorporate those into what we do on a weekly basis and use that as a donation that comes to you. for the First Steps program. This book, Frederick, is actually a very old book. It was a Caldecott Honor winning book for a long time ago. But the story, I think, is still very applicable to today and certainly applicable to First Steps. I love the story of First Steps when I first heard it, still love it, that, you know, you do what's best for your community. So each First Steps brings their gift to the community. And that's what Frederick did. Now, Frederick was a little bit of a wayward mouse, so to speak. He didn't collect all the food and stuff he needed to do when it came time, you know, during the summer and preparing for winter. But he found out he could barter by using his skills. He was a poet, and other people loved his how he shared his poetry. They shared what they had, and it's a gentle way and a nice way of reminding children that all of us have something to offer, just like every First Steps has something to offer to help children build up what they have to offer. So NaToya, thank you for reminding us of the gifts that young children that we need to nurture, because we want them to, you know, be able to enjoy their life ahead, and certainly, you know, enjoy the things that, you know, all of us enjoy, and just really kind of help them grow and develop in a way that they, you know, reach their fulfillment in life. And so this book, NaToya, will, I said it's a little free library, but I think what I'll do is send this book to you and have a placard, and then you can choose one of the libraries or the programs for this book to go. And it's our way of saying thank you for your wonderful, wonderful message today. So thank you so much for being with us. We really do appreciate it. Yay, NaToya.
Thank you. Look, I was having trouble unmuting. Thank you all for having me, and we will really appreciate the books. I think it's going to most likely go to our library of literacy for Miss Sharon to share it when she goes out and does story time.